Oh, wow. All right.
I was just logging into the BBC and I heard that. Yeah, so we got all right. What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. I was just adjusting some tabs, but now they're adjusted and we are ready to go. If you're watching the podcast, then you know you're watching it on YouTube at Ian Edwards or Ian Soccer Comic Rant Edwards. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends, send them the links. We're trying to, get more people to, watch, listen, and enjoy. If you're listening at Omni Studio, All Things Comedy. And if you go to allthingscomedy.com, you'll see like podcasts from some of the best comics in America. They have all their podcasts there. Bill Burr, Bert Kreischer, Tom Popper, list goes on. Just go there, you see everyone. And some of them collab with each other. So there's some dope podcasts at allthingscomedy.com. I'm also on iTunes. And sponsor for the podcast is onthevolleyapparel.com. If you go to onthevolleyapparel.com, you see hoodies, tanks, t-shirts, and sweatshirts for men and women with hip-hop/soccer logos on the front of each jersey or t-shirt or hoodie or sweatshirt and tank top. So go to onthevolleyapparel.com, use my promo code ComicRant, and you get 20% off. And we got two of the regular, usual suspects and dudes. He's at the bottom of my screen. Lee Hudson, comic from England, Southampton fan. What up, Lee?
I'm good.
You good? All right. And of course, there's Martin, another comic, actor, and does voices for a lot of video games, and he's a Spurs fan, and he's from Poland. So there's some good stuff there, definitely some bad stuff there, but y'all decide which is good and which is bad. What up, Martin?
Hey.
Good.
From Poland, but U.S. citizen, double citizen, so that's important.
Double citizen. All right, that's cool. Two countries that suck at soccer. That's good.
We're getting better.
Poland or America?
Oh.
I think America is for sure. Poland, I don't know.
We have the best player in the world, officially, the best player in the world.
And we all know what happens when you just have one good player.
I'm pretty optimistic with Euros. I think we'll do fine. I think we'll maybe do okay. I don't think we'll do too great, but I don't think we'll do as bad as usual. So.
As bad as usual. So that's your measuring stick? We won't do as bad as usual.
We're getting better.
I mean, it's not hard.
Yeah, all we need to do is to beat Slovakia in the first game and we'll be fine. And I think we'll beat Slovakia in the first game. So.
All right.
Yeah,
it's fair enough. And Neil is going to join us, but he's a few minutes behind, so we'll see what happens when he joins.
Looking for the Gareth Bale jersey to wear the podcast.
Well, let's not spoil it. Maybe he'll show up and then we'll explain all that.
All right.
Give it some context.
Okay.
But so the first thing we'll talk about is the Europa League final, and that was Manchester United losing to Sevilla in a penalty shootout that was longer than the game.
Villareal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm depressed, so I'm gonna say.
Emery usually wins it with Sevilla.
So yeah, Emery. I'm just thinking about Emery and who he normally wins it with. You're right.
Yeah, wishing you a Merry Christmas.
I don't understand that, Martin. What do you mean?
A Merry Christmas.
Do you understand what he's saying, Lee?
I think it's the play on words on Emery's name.
Oh, yeah, okay, that was terrible. Anyway, it's pretty terrible, Martin. So yeah, Manchester United, we didn't do enough to win it in the 90 minutes, even though we had possession of the ball. We seemed to slip back to like earlier season problems, like when we had possession a lot, but we just didn't do anything with it. I wish all the players had played with the heart of Cavani and McTominay, because I feel like if they put that extra effort into it and urgency, we would at least have won a penalty or something, or got ourselves in a position where we could have got an extra goal or two, and the whole thing would have been decided before we went to extra time or to the penalty spot. Also, wish if Solskjaer had took some chances with some of the subs. Like, I know your best players are on the field, but Bruno wasn't doing much, and then we got that kid Ahmad, and I feel like we could have thrown Ahmad in or Van de Beek just to switch things up a little bit and see if we could make something out of that. But also, he was looking at the penalty situation, and one thing he did do as a coach was get all his penalty takers on the field, and we were good for 10 penalties, which is good, you know. So, but we lost like England loses in most finals or semifinals or any round of any tournament on penalties. We lost in a very English way. To who did we lose to again, Lee? Like, who did we lose to again, Lee?
Who, England?
Yeah, I mean Manchester United.
Villareal.
Villareal. I don't want to say the name.
The Yellow Submarine, as they're
Yeah,
called.
Yellow Submarine.
Yeah.
And they're using a Beatles Liverpool song as their thing, so that doesn't feel good. But
Also,
Emery
so
and Villareal, you did your thing. You held tight. You played the game, the only games that you could play, and you won the only way you could win. Congratulations and thoughts, fellas. Thoughts.
So to rephrase what you said, who did you lose to? I would have to add something to it. You've lost to Capu and Foyth, which are former Tottenham players.
Martin, you know that's a bad look for Tottenham. That the more players leave you, the more titles they win. So Harry Kane is probably watching. It's like, I have to leave if I want to win a title. Like Capu and Foyth have a title.
Yeah.
They have trophies. So he's like, I got to get out of here. Pochettino left, and Pochettino got 2 trophies.
Foyth is actually still very young. I think he's 21 or 22 at most. I think he still has a future on a very, very good club. So I kind of was surprised they let him go. But maybe, you know, they will play him in the future.
Who let him go?
Player.
Was it Pochettino
Mourinho
or Mourinho?
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, like he just played in a Europa League final, acquitted himself well, won a trophy, and who would have thought that a Foyth was going to win a trophy over a Kane? It's kind of crazy and impossible.
Yeah.
Lee, what are people thinking about the game in England?
Most people said it was boring.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great watch. A lot of people are criticising Solskjaer for, like you said, the lack of changes or even the lack of strategy. Like, even if you're not going to change the players on the field, you need to change what they're doing, because what they're doing was working. So I feel he could have been a bit more bold. Like, say, the way you played kind of played into the hands of Villarreal's strategy, which was just to sit that 4-4-2 off, protect their midfield, because the 2 strikers didn't press. They just protected the midfield areas, and they made you go down your right side a lot. They didn't want you on the left where Shaw and Rashford were. They wanted you on the right with Wan-Bissaka and Greenwood, because Greenwood's not really a winger and Wan-Bissaka doesn't really go forward. So they kind of let you have the ball down that side. But yeah, I mean, like you say, they did the job. They won the way they could win. And yeah, I just think Solskjaer could have been a bit more adventurous, a bit more tactically flexible.
Yeah, because I feel like in the extra time, right? I forgot what period of the game, but I think it was extra time when they, out of nowhere, employed a press, like, and pulled up like a high line. So then they held us in our half for at least the first half of extra time when they wouldn't let us out. And it's like they switched their tactics. They and it's like, I don't feel like, and I feel like we should have done that to them, give them a hard time to get out, and then capitalize on a mistake. It's almost like trying to like getting the juice out of an orange. You have to squeeze it, right? Sometimes the orange won't fall off the tree and into your hand already peeled and cut and sliced and the juice in the thing. And it has we should have did something like that. Like to see them press us and waste an extra time of 15 minutes is like that's just you have to like do what we did in the Man City game. Like just kick the ball up once they got it, just shut it down, press them, and just start squeezing them, try to get a goal, but we didn't do that. We didn't have the legs to do it. I just think Bruno's just played too much.
Yeah. He looked jaded last night.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Well, first of all, kind of strange that Emery won a trophy before Solskjaer. Second thing is
he's won several trophies before Solskjaer. What are you talking about?
He actually won Europa League twice, I think, with Sevilla. So
he won it 3 times. This is his fourth time.
His fourth time. Yeah, I remember when they played.
And he lost the final with Arsenal.
Yeah,
he went to a Europa League final.
That seems like a good competition for him. Plus, I think he's not a bad coach. He had just a bad experience at Arsenal and maybe okay experience at PSG. But I'll tell you this: I was surprised with the way they played Pogba in this game. I think he should have known better that Pogba likes to play in a different role. I mean, and they kind of tried to make him Fred type of a player in this final, right?
Yeah, but he's played that position for most of the season.
Mm.
Yeah, like he's played like in a double pivot for most of the season, but he's played it like next to Fred. Last season it was him and Matic, and then this season it's been him and Fred. Or towards the end of the season, they put him on the left or on the right and use Fred and McTominay as a pivot, just to get some energy going, to win the ball back. But we wanted to like put a lot of attackers out and have Cavani, Rashford, and Greenwood and Bruno, and plus have like the ball winning and then the Carrick-like passes from Pogba in the double pivot. But we just didn't play hard enough. And I was saying it last week. It's one of them games where you just have to. And maybe I had a conversation with you, Lee. It's like you can't. This team, they never won anything. It's their first trophy. It's their first opportunity, and they with a coach who's won it before. You just have to out effort them. You just have to. And we did for the most part, but there was more I could see. You could tell by the way Cavani was running and McTominay that the rest of the players could have gave more effort. And there needed to be moments of composure and calm. And that shit was not there when we needed it.
Yeah, like I think like you guys looked like you were at sort of as a team at like 70, 80%, but you need to be 90 to 100 to win a final like that.
Right.
Like Cavani and McTominay were putting it in, but it just looked like it was lacking intensity a little bit in terms of with and without the ball.
Right.
Like you said, the composure thing, like Rashford missed a good chance, but I still don't think you created that much, which was disappointing. Expected a little bit more in terms of chances. But I mean, even Rashford missing. I don't know if you've seen Rashford's got a whole bunch of abuse.
Yeah, racial abuse. Yeah,
on social media, which is just disappointing that we're having to cover that again. But people are obviously.
That's just hard. That's just heartbreaking, man. It's like what, like, are these Manchester United fans? What do they think they're gonna accomplish from this? And
I don't know.
Why are you going in on a 23-year-old who's definitely he's giving his heart to the club just at 23? You're just going to make him want to leave. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I don't know what these people are trying to achieve. It's just, like I say, whether they're fans or not, it's wrong on every level. And the guy has done so much outside of football as well. I mean, no one should face this, but I mean, Rashford's like just the most wholesome person as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's sad to see it happen, really.
Well, and that's a good moment to bring up the subject that we discussed privately with Ian a couple of days ago, because it kind of makes sense. Let's say if
Whoa. What topic is that? Before you even mention it.
CR7 topic.
CR7
topic.
Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yes, sir.
What about it?
Because if Rashford leaves, that's a perfect shoe-in for Rashford on that position, on that wing. I mean, that's the rumor right now in English media, that he's considering coming back and playing for United next season, and it's all the newspapers jumped on it. There are being quoted sources that he met with Solskjaer or spoke with Solskjaer already, and Solskjaer is hyped to get him on the team next year. And you know what? And actually, we had this discussion before the game, but right now, I think after the game, it even exemplifies the value, in my opinion, which he would bring to the team, because he's a winner. He's a guy who, in a game like this, he makes a difference for sure on the pitch. So I'm all for it. I mean, if I was a United fan, you asked me privately if I would take him to Tottenham. Yes, but he would never come to Tottenham. He has a history with United, obviously, and that would be the argument for him to go back to United. I think he's still one of 20 best players, maybe not top 3, but definitely one of 20, maybe 10 best players in the world. And he brings tremendous value, in my opinion. I think it would be amazing deal for United to get him.
Lee, has you heard this nonsense from the English media?
I haven't heard it recently, but I've heard it through the season. So a couple of months ago, I remember reading about it. I don't think Rashford's going to leave United. So I think if Ronaldo came, he'd be either used there or as a he's more of a centre forward nowadays than a winger. But I mean, I think it's feasible. It could definitely happen. I think, he's been to Italy. He's won a title. He's won other trophies there. It wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility of him moving on. Things are being shaken up at Juve as well. It looks like Allegri.
Oh, he already moved on. He posted on Instagram. He already moved on. So he will play on a different club next season. And it looks like United is in the running for it.
No, I mean, there's very few clubs that can afford him as well. United are one of them.
It doesn't make sense to me. It's like you just signed Cavani. Why would you sign Ronaldo? Then you have Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, Ahmad. Like there's people, and Van de Beek. There's just people that are younger that you need to get into the rotation and playing on a regular basis. So adding a Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't help you at all. It confuses everything even more. So
I think Martial would probably go, to be honest. I think he's the one.
I mean, he might, but he might not. And then you also bring back what do you do with Lingard? You got Lingard. It's just
he's a different position guy. I mean, I would say Cavani.
Yeah, but he takes up a position that somebody else that I just mentioned could play, and there's less spots to move people around to, because you know how they change up positions. It's just less spots. When Ronaldo's there, he's gonna always be there, so that spot is taken. So now there's less spots for the other guys.
Yeah, but would you take Kane if Kane was going to join?
City,
and that's another thing. Yeah. Well, you're just making my point. Like Kane, it's like he's not an old guy. You know what I mean? Like, so now we're talking, do I want to stop the development of one of our younger players for Cristiano Ronaldo, who's going to retire in 2 years, or would I stop it or slow it down for Kane, who's going to be good for 5 years? That I would do, but not for
no chance for Kane.
An older guy.
If Ronaldo wants to come back, if even Ronaldo will give you an interview, he's the king. Even if he gives you an interview, you jump on it. He's one of the greatest of all time. He's arguably still one of the best players in the world. If you have a chance to sign someone like that, especially after losing the final of the Europa League competition, you need a winner like that. You need a guy who makes a difference, who always delivers every single season. Even in off season, let me finish. Even in an off season with Juventus, They finished top 4. He was the best scorer of the league, the best scorer in the competition in the age of 36. You jump on it. There's no question that you need it. 100%.
Well, Martin, you jump on it if you're Spurs. You don't jump on it if you're Manchester
I would
United.
pick everybody on that. I would trade the entire roster.
Martin, we sold him in his prime, and we still won titles.
Messi is about to sign a 2-year deal with Barcelona, and then as a part of the deal, they actually discussed today, it will be a 10-year deal, 2 years with Barcelona, 3 years in the MLS, and then he comes back and joins the board. So for the next 2 years, they believe at Barca he'll be still great enough to be great at Barca. Same with Ronaldo. For the next 2 years, he's still great enough to be great at United. Why would you not use it?
Martin, because in 3 years, Rashford will be better. Greenwood will be better. Like if you watch you asked me a question, I'm answering it. If you watch Greenwood play, you could tell he's going to be a player.
Not on the Ronaldo level ever.
You didn't know Ronaldo was going to be Ronaldo level until he was Ronaldo level. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Easy.
And then I watched him play more than you did just because of who I'm a fan of, and I'm telling you, I'm watching Greenwood. Greenwood is going to be up there. I'm watching this Ahmad guy. He's going to be up there. And so I'm looking for the future. We don't need to buy. We already did Ronaldo.
All right.
We're not doing Ronaldo again. We see Neil Chakravarti, comic from San Diego, Chelsea fan.
Bale jersey.
Chelsea who backed into the Champions League spot, beeping like a truck. How you feeling, man?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I think the season's kind of we've achieved what we wanted to achieve of the season, and now it'd be great to win, but this team has lost 2 finals. My hopes are kind of like again back to where it was like 2 months back. But yeah,
and I think you're justified, like based on how they lost to Villa.
Yeah.
When they needed to win, I'm like,
yeah,
I'd be shocked if you beat Man City. This is a Saturday.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, the game is going to define, you kind of get up for certain games. I don't know what happened in the Villa game because we are now on a run of 3 losses in our last 4 games. I don't think we played badly in any of the 2 other losses, but this Villa game, I think it was a really poor performance, like both defense, midfield, attack. But yeah, I think it should. If we have folks like Conte coming back, I think we can give Man City. I think it'll be a good game, but we definitely are going to be up against it.
Yeah, you're definitely going to be up against it. Like, especially because defensively they're pretty sound, and you guys are having trouble offensively. I think next year your offense is going to kick in more, and you'll be better. How? It's just playing time and chemistry.
We have to buy somebody.
Nah, you got Werner.
Nah.
You don't believe in him?
I'm not going into one more season with that gamble. Are you kidding me? Another season of that?
So then play 19-goal Tammy Abraham, Premier League 19.
Well, that ship has sailed. I mean,
why?
You're right. That's exactly what I would do. But manager's not doing it, right? So there's no point debating it. He's just shut the door. He's put, when we have Ben Chilwell and Azpilicueta in the 11, who can both play left back, and he has 2 left backs on the bench. He still won't put Tammy Abraham in the squad. So that ship was just sailed, and he's probably going to be playing for Spurs next season.
Who will be playing for Spurs?
Tammy. It's possible. Any team that's looking for a striker and is not among the top 4 teams, there's a good chance he's going to go.
I would rather take Ings, but I'll take him. Why not?
You would take over Tammy, or you take Ings over Tammy?
I like Ings. I like Ings as a player.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ings and Tammy both have. Ings has more pedigree, but then Tammy has a higher ceiling because he's already doing what he's doing at the age.
Martin likes old white guys.
He's not that old.
He just tried to get me to take
Cristiano
Ronaldo back to.
I like how Martin's problem with that sentence was, oh, he's not that old.
Cristiano Ronaldo, excuse me, is Hispanic.
Yeah, they have Hispanic white guys, bro. I don't know if you know that.
Depends if you catch him.
Hispanic doesn't mean you're not white.
It depends if you catch him after he visited Solarium or not, because he likes to get the treatment, and so then he looks like less white. He likes to go.
I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm just gonna skip that. I just want you just sound like you like old white guys. Neil, what did you think of the Europa League final and Manchester United's failure to beat the Yellow
Unfortunately, I saw the worst parts of United's game. Like I missed the second half, and I saw the first half, and then I saw the penalties, like the extra time and the penalties. And I think when I saw the team sheet, this looked like this. I thought this is the team sheet that United should be playing if there are no injuries, they should be playing majority of their games. Especially
which is what Solskjaer did.
Yeah, but then you have to do something with it. Like in the first half, there was barely, that entire front six was barely doing anything, which is really bizarre. Like each one of those guys, we've seen them do a lot in the Premier League. So I think Villareal was like the worst kind of teams to play against.
Yeah. I actually have one question, Ian. Do you think that's goodbye for De Gea? Do you think that was his last moment for United or
not? It's hard to tell. It might be, and it's not because it's because of other things. Like he's losing quality. He's not at the peak of his game, and he might want to leave anyway. Like I don't have the feeling that he 100% wants to be a Manchester United player. Like I think he does in the sense that it'll get him the national team job, but I think he's more into the national team than he is being a Man United player. So he'll use Manchester United to achieve that, but if he can go somewhere else and achieve that, then he'll take that. And we haven't exactly treated him with the most loyalty. So like there's two positions this year that are up for grabs, and that's like his position and Pogba's spot too.
Well, United must be desperate to get rid of De Gea, right? Like he's not the De Gea of old, but yet he's blocking up 350,000 a week on the wage bill.
I don't know. I mean, like I feel like they'll be afraid. We're in a position where you have to find a new goalkeeper, right?
Dean Henderson.
He's on the decline, but then the one that you have, he's not ready yet. So it's like, do you want to go through the pain of him getting to that level? Which I think we might have to.
Well, a very good goalkeeper became available this week.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Who's that?
Donnarumma from AC Milan. I mean, he came in the first team when he was 16. He's only 22, but he's just become available on a free transfer. His contract's just expired. AC Milan have signed Mike from Lille.
Let him finish, Mark. Then you jump in.
I mean, Donnarumma's got the pick of any club in Europe really that needs a keeper. So, I mean, if PSG wanted to replace Navas, he could go there. All manner of Premier League clubs could sign him. Chelsea have been linked, even though they've got Mendy. United, I think, be a destination. If he wanted to really lower himself, he could replace Lloris at Spurs, but he's probably got more ambition.
We're fine. I don't value him that much, to be quite honest with you. I remember him when he started at 17, 18, 19, and I think he played 100 games in Serie A before he even turned 20. But the last 2 seasons, he was kind of on and off. Like he didn't take this extra leap. And I remember young Gianluigi Buffon, he took that extra leap around 2021, 22. Of course, it's too early to judge him. He still can be a very, very good goalkeeper. But the last 2 years, I think he didn't kind of make that leap in quality to be one of the best goalkeepers in the world, where people were thinking that that's his ultimate destination. So it doesn't surprise me that Milan is not really fighting that hard to keep him.
All right.
I think he's got the potential to, though. Like I've seen things in him that he could get there. And I think it maybe went stale in Milan. Like,
Which Milan is he playing with? Inter or AC? AC. Okay.
Yeah. But he's had contract disputes for the past couple of seasons where they've been trying to get him to sign new contracts, and he's been hesitant. So I think that's played into some of his inconsistency.
I think because AC hasn't been doing well for the last few years, and it's like, why this is not the club that I joined.
Well, they're probably the best now than they've been in years, though.
Yeah, but
this season they actually did very well. They were in the title contention for a second, but and they ended up, I think.
What's well, Martin? Let me see what a Spurs fan considers well.
Third. That's not bad. It's not a bad season.
Yeah, you're right.
I think if Mendy didn't have the kind of season he's having, Chelsea would definitely be, because I think the links that are to Donnarumma even right now are more of a legacy of last summer's links, where it looked like maybe because he's going to be in a free in 12 months time, we can like just offer around 30 million or something and get him off Milan. But of course, like Mendy has come in and he's been really good. So I don't think we are looking at getting somebody right now. But I mean, if a team is looking for a keeper, you should just give Mino Raiola whatever he wants and just go get.
Oh, is that no guy?
Yeah, I think that's one reason why United might not go near him.
I heard Mino is trying to get like 40 mil just for himself for pulling off the
Haaland deal.
The Haaland deal.
Yeah, I won't be surprised.
Just money for himself, which the Haaland to Real Madrid deal. Say, all right, we'll just wait a year for Mbappe and get Mbappe for free.
It's so crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't need to do any work to sell Haaland. The guy sells himself.
Yeah. Well, it's probably in a contract somewhere.
Yeah.
Before Haaland knew what he was.
I heard Haaland is going to, I think Dortmund is going to just keep Haaland this year too, and then sell him next year.
I think that suits Mino Raiola because, like, if you're another club and if you want to get Haaland this summer, it probably costs you around 150 million. But next summer, his release clause kicks in. You can just pay the club 75 million. So whatever money you're saving can go towards Haaland's wages, towards Mino Raiola's commission. So I think that's what Haaland and Raiola would want to do too.
Oh, that's pretty bananas. Let's move on to the Champions League final that's coming up this weekend. Lee, what do you think about Neil's club's chances?
Well,
and the club that's not Neil's club chances.
They've beaten the last two games, so they've shown they can do it. I think it's going to be a real tense, cagey affair, though. I think it's going to be quite, especially the first half, maybe the first half hour or the whole first half will be quite them just feeling each other out tactically. Tuchel and Pep are both, I think they're both the sort of coaches that would overthink a game like this, trying to figure out what the other one's going to do and will they spring any surprises. So I think it'll be quite tense first half and it'll open up more second half. I hate to say it, but I think City 2-1 is my prediction. I think they'll just have a little bit too much quality, but it could go either way. Like I say, Chelsea beat them twice in big games.
It's what all we want, right?
So why do you say you hate to say it, Lee?
Just because they're the favourites and they're expected to win, and also Neil's sitting right there. I don't want to. But I mean, I'm a neutral in this. I just want to see a good game of football more than anything. But yeah.
What do you think, Martin, about this game?
I think Guardiola will not let it loose. I mean, that's the one thing he needs to complete, to make this complete for him, the experience with the city. He needs to win the Champions League. And I think finally he's in the final after losing in the semifinals, quarterfinals for the last several years. Finally, he made it to the final. I don't think he'll let it slip. He's a perfectionist. He will study all day, all night, and he will find out the perfect formula to beat Chelsea, because I think at this point it will go into details. And arguably City still have more talent on the team than Chelsea. Even if Chelsea has some talent on the team, of course. It's a good team, but I think City have a little bit more talent, and with the preparation, with Guardiola's insight and his determination to win that competition, I think he will. Let me put it this way, it will be harder for City not to win it than for Chelsea. Like the level of frustration if they don't win it will be higher than the level of enthusiasm if Chelsea wins it. Chelsea doesn't have to win it. City, they do have to win it.
For me personally, I just think it's going to be hard for City not to win this. Like we were talking about the Europa League final, and Solskjaer had his best players on the field. I remember some of the comebacks that we had this season, 10 of them, when we went down and we went ahead. Some of those players that were on the field that started in our 11 today, Solskjaer could actually take them off the bench and interject them into the game and interject another level of energy. And I feel like Man City has those options. Like I feel like Pep has a style that plays to win, and then he could tweak that style by taking players off the bench, whether they need energy or to change the tactics. I just think there's just so much depth there that unless they start the game with Nathan Ake, I don't give Man City. I just don't see how Man City's gonna lose this when Sergio Aguero's leaving and he's healthy also, so he can contribute if they need him to start or just take him off the bench. And Fernandinho, I don't know how many more games he's got left with them. They're just all right there in this scenario. And it's going to be tough for Chelsea to beat a team of that strength 3 times in a row. That'll be just bananas. Most of the time, the team who won 2 games, they just don't win the third. But that's just my math, Neil,
I think
what you got?
I think the way the team like Chelsea has to look at it is we don't need to beat them 3 times in a row. We just need to beat them this one time. Like just approach
Smart
Okay.
words. Smart words, but yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be, of course, like I think it's pretty clear that we go in as underdogs and we are not the favorites, but and I think if both City and Chelsea play at their best, City is gonna win. That's just the way where the 2 teams are right now, where the 2 managers are with their respective squads right now. We definitely have more flaws than Man City, but we've seen the Europa League final. The favorite did not win. So sometimes, like in one-off games, it can happen.
But that reminds me a little bit of the final we played against Liverpool in the Champions League final, where one team was a clear favorite, and then the game went the way it went. I think
that's what all the Champions League finals happen. The favorite almost always wins. In fact, interestingly enough, I think the only time where the favorite did not win was in 2012 when we beat Bayern. I think since then, I've only seen the favorite always winning the Champions League final.
Except when it's in 99. But listen.
Yeah, but I'm saying since like in the last 10, 12 years or so.
But that's, it's funny, you made at the beginning of your statement about Chelsea, you made an argument. We only have to play 1 game, which it's a good statement, but we're talking about odds. The odds of you winning.
Yeah, of course.
But the odds count. So but then you make an argument against Chelsea and then against Chelsea, which I agree with. And then you use the Europa League final. Here's the problem with Manchester United. You want to? It's like there is this motivational level that Pep can get his team to, that Solskjaer is not able to get this Manchester United team to. Like when you watch, which was my worry coming into this game. It wasn't, everybody's like, coming into the Europa League, I'm like, sometimes we don't get up for the game we're supposed to get up. But I knew Villareal would be up for the game that they needed to be up for. I knew they'd be up for the game. So
but you were up for the semifinal. You beat Roma, like trash Roma, didn't you?
Yeah, but then we lost the game after against Roma, but we just had so many goals. So So I'm like, it's like the thing. This is why I'd be shocked if you guys beat Man City, is because it's not even the depth as much as the mentality that Pep instills in his players, and they just don't freeze up. Like
Yeah, I
I
mean,
could see us freezing up.
yeah.
So us not winning is kind of who we are. Like like next year, that's unacceptable to
Yeah.
me. I'm watching my team grow, and then also like this title was more. Manchester United doesn't need a Europa League title.
True.
Solskjaer needed a Europa League title more than like if we won, our fans would forget it so fast, and nobody would ever use it to defend
Yeah.
players next year if they don't win anything. Like it just never comes up. It would never come up in an argument. But the only way it come up in an argument is like the only people who could win the Europa League yesterday was Villareal or Solskjaer, not Man United. You know what I mean? So
And not even Emery, because he's like won in a million times.
exactly. So it was Villareal versus goddamn Solskjaer yesterday, and Villareal won. And but this one is Man City, Pep versus Chelsea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Pep is going to do everything, like Martin said, within his power. I'd just be so shocked.
But I
Yeah.
feel like that might play into our hands because, I mean, as Martin was saying, that Pep's going to be like thinking about it all day, all night. He kind of sometimes overthinks these big games and doesn't go with what has worked for him in the past. And that has been the reason he slipped up in a lot of these games. So if I think what you're saying, like about the previous two games, I don't think it has any relevance for tomorrow, except for the fact that Guardiola himself would try and think a little out of the box to negate the stuff that happened. Because you got to remember the first game, the FA Cup semi-final. Okay, fine. The league game, he rotated a lot. Chelsea rotated a lot. Maybe not a lot to learn from that. But the FA Cup semi-final, he was playing almost his best team, and they didn't come close. The only reason it was still a close scoreline was because
Man,
guys
so was
can't finish.
Did Nathan Ake play that game?
No, I don't know. I know Ruben Diaz played that game, and Laporte played that game. So,
Yeah,
but
we talked about the last time you guys
no,
played.
the FA Cup semi-final. The FA Cup semi-final.
Right.
They were going for the treble. I think they rotated their goalkeeper, but the rest of the team
I
was
can't
great.
remember what their lineup was.
And they barely got any chances. The only reason it was still kind of close is, and that's the biggest problem with Chelsea, that even if we play a really good game, it doesn't get reflected in the scoreline because we can't finish. Like we can do everything, but we can't finish. Like the Real Madrid second leg was probably our best game, like overall from the from the front end to the back end under Tuchel, but it was just a 2-0, and the second goal came like late in the second half. So we can never really be comfortable, even when you're playing at our best. That's just where this team is right now.
All right. Anybody got anything to say to that or add to that?
No.
All right. So we all think Chelsea's going to lose, including.
But
Neil.
I think one big thing that might help is like the news just came in that Conte and Mendy, they both seem like they might be fit. Maybe they won't be completely fit, but they will still take that chance.
Mendy got injured on that goalpost, huh?
Yeah, like his ribs. Apparently, it's not a fracture, but so he can.
What you worry about? You have Kepa just in case, you know.
Oh my God! Like if that is gonna be like if it has to come down to Kepa between the two on a Champions League final, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
What if he wins? What if he stands on his head?
Well, then make that statue, but like even to get to there, that's gonna be a harrowing 90 or 120 minutes.
Here's my prediction. Kepa will play, and they will try to substitute him, and he will not leave the field.
Yeah, he didn't leave the field when he was not considered bad. So definitely he's not leaving the field now.
Well, so I kind of want to. So we see this Tottenham makes contact with former boss Pochettino. Martin, what do you think about that?
Yeah, there are two different rumors in the last couple of days. Yesterday, the front page of one of the newspapers said that they're speaking to Conte, Antonio Conte, about bringing him, which I like this idea, and I like the idea of Pochettino too. I think Pochettino was successful, except of last half of the
Martin,
season. So,
you were so happy to get rid of him.
yeah, because at the time made sense, but now sometimes. Listen, coaches go
Never
back.
go back to your ex.
Coaches go back. You know that too, Neil. You had some coaches more than 2 times.
Yeah, but like he
So
stunk us the
it
second
happens.
time.
It happens. It happens. It does happen in major clubs that the coaches, at this time made sense to get rid of him, but maybe at this time makes sense to bring him back. So we'll see.
Why would he go back
think,
though? Like I don't follow that part of the story. Like what's the incentive for him to? Is PSG trying to get rid of him?
It worked for most of the time. It worked. It just didn't work at the very end, and maybe they needed some time to take a break from each other. Like there's a couple dating, right? They're a good couple, but there's a moment when it doesn't work. They take a break, see other people, and then they understand that their best solution is to be together.
But since the time they broke up, one of these guys completely went off the rails, got drunk, is in a rehab center. Why would the other person come back to this guy?
No. When he left, we were 12th. Now we are 7th. We're not in the rehab. We actually did some things okay in the meantime. Some things we didn't do okay. He did some things okay. Ultimately, he didn't win the title with PSG, right? He won 2 cups, so he had some trophies. He didn't win the league title. He lost to Lille, which is a big blow. And he lost in the Champions League, also not great, right? So both teams had some struggles, but both teams did okay. He won.
Why would he?
Tottenham finished 7th. Helping you guys, which you didn't mention on this podcast one time so far. I mean, and you should have at least 5 times already. And maybe it makes sense to try again. But Conte makes sense too. I would like Conte. Why not?
So you could really dig into the Mourinho style of football.
No, I mean Conte. Contrary to Mourinho, Conte is very, very efficient in the last couple of years. In the last 5-6 years, he was very successful. So
I heard Lukaku and Martinez and somebody else, they want to follow him wherever he goes. So whoever gets Conte, they're going to get some players with him. Lee, have you heard anything? What do you think it is?
Everything that I'm reading here today is saying that Conte is now the favourite for the Real Madrid job, now that Zidane stepped down. So I think that would be obviously his first choice if they're in. I could still see him coming to the Premier League potentially, though, if that move isn't on. But everything in the papers and on the internet and everything here today says that Poch is in talks to go back to Spurs and Conte is the favourite for Real. But obviously, we've seen these stories before about other managers and it hasn't happened. So that's what's being said today. Who knows what's being said tomorrow? But I could see both of those moves happening. I think.
And on top of what you said, sorry to interrupt, I'm just going to add to what you said and then please continue. And on top of what you said, Zidane is mentioned with PSG. Please continue.
And I think Daniel Levy has openly said, firing Pochettino was his biggest mistake, his biggest regret. I think it needed to happen at the time, but equally, I think it could work with him going back. So I think he's still got a strong emotional tie to the club and he knows the place. But I think if he does go back, he needs to be backed way more to rebuild them this time because there's so much dead wood there. They need a massive overhaul of the squad there. But with the Zidane to PSG thing, I think that would be really interesting because he was born in Marseille, played for Marseille, and there's a real hatred for Paris in Marseille. So that would be an interesting move. I think he would not be able to go back to Marseille if he if he took the PSG job. But I mean, money talks.
He played at Bordeaux. He played at Bordeaux. That was the club where he played. I mean, he is from Marseille, but he played for Bordeaux before he became this great Zinedine Zidane. So that was the team that where he built his value, where he built his stature in the early stages of his career. So he doesn't have a link with the club. He doesn't have a huge link with the city.
He's a fan. He's a Marseille. He grew up.
Yeah, but so who was the Arsenal fan that and became coach of Chelsea? I mean, there are stories like that all the time. I mean, Raul was with Atletico Madrid as a teenager, right? Harry Kane wasn't with Arsenal as a teenager. I mean, it doesn't matter really at this point.
Yeah, it could still absolutely happen. I'm just saying the guys.
Yeah, and especially if he wants to continue his legacy of a guy who gets it done at the highest level. There's not it's a perfect moment to join PSG because
he's very good and win the Champions League. Yeah.
And
it's a perfect moment for who to join PSG?
Zidane.
Zidane.
Because it's already very, very good team. He doesn't need to change that much on the team.
But why would Pochettino leave PSG for Spurs?
Because he lost the league in a pretty embarrassing fashion, and he has, as Neil said, emotional link with the team, and fans will welcome him back.
Is it that embarrassing? Like he got there, they weren't in the lead.
You lose to Lille when you're PSG. I mean, come on.
Well, you just win next year when you have the whole season.
Yeah, but if it makes sense to go back to Tottenham, I'm sure he will get a good contract.
It just makes sense to you.
I've heard that he's unhappy with the politics behind the scenes at PSG.
Same with Tuchel. Same thing happened with Tuchel.
But I think Zidane's managed at Real Madrid for however many years, and there's no club really in the world that's more political behind the scenes than Real Madrid. So I think Zidane is probably the right guy to go in there and to be able to deal with that because he's got the experience of that. But yeah, that's what I've read, that Pochettino is he's unhappy with what's all the different power struggles going on off the pitch there.
Let me tell you something. I don't want a coach that's running from the political toil of another club he could win trophies at. Like, I want a coach who's I'm gonna make this work, or they have to fire me. I don't want a coach to run back to where he thinks it's going to be easier. Because, Martin, that mentality is not going to win you anything at Spurs. So be careful of what you wish for.
I didn't say I wish for. I said it's going to be a good. It's a good option. I said I would probably take Conte ahead of Pochettino if he's available. He probably isn't because I've heard not only Real but Barcelona want him. Because Ronald Koeman will most likely will be fired, or most likely will lose his job, which doesn't surprise me because they finished third in La Liga with Messi, and they finished out of top 4 in the Champions League. So it's
Barcelona.
Yeah,
they finished out of the top 4
in the Champions League, and they finished
third. They didn't make it to the top 4, last 4 of Champions League.
Of the tournament, right.
But I mean, I just feel like for both Conte and Pochettino, their profiles right now they're probably looking at higher profile jobs than Spurs, because you're talking about Spurs and who are now in the Conference League. If Pochettino moves to Spurs, he's essentially taking a 10-year step back in his career, because that's where he moved from Southampton to Spurs. No, but hear me out. It's not just that he's moving to Spurs.
Neil,
he's going to be moving
Martin
to Spurs.
Martin disagrees with you. He thinks it's 20 years.
No, but he's not just moving to the Spurs that he left. He's also moving to the Spurs without Harry Kane and possibly without Zidane.
I checked 5 minutes ago. He's still there. Let me know if it changes.
Well, you better keep on checking.
When you start playing golf with Gary Neville as a get-me-out card like this, there's only one way this is going to...
Oh, come on. I mean, if Pochettino comes back, you never know. Maybe he wants to stay with Pochettino.
But why would he want to play Europa Conference?
You don't remember. You have short memory because you don't remember when Chelsea finished, I think, 11th or 12th and what? And next season they won the league. I mean, every season is different, man. You can't think too much about one season.
But that was a team that had already won the league. Like, you're not going to start winning the league after such a season. Like, we have pretty much very similar team to the team that almost won the league twice. So we can still be in top 4 with those players. Why not? With few buys. But that's the thing. Just like, I mean, you wanted to sell like half the team. Few episodes
who wants to sell half the team? I never said I want to sell half the team.
I mean, you're saying like a lot of players, they probably, they need to, like the defense needs a whole restructuring and stuff.
Yeah, but if Pochettino comes back, he's like, maybe Ali will play. I like old Ali under me. Maybe Alderweireld will be still useful. We'll put Dyer as a defensive midfielder instead of a center back because that's where he played with Pochettino for some time. And then we just buy another center back, and maybe if we have to buy another striker, we'll buy another striker. That's it. We don't need that much more.
Too many maybes there.
No, it's just two positions I would improve, Just two positions I would improve.
Martin, you sound like a used car salesman, and that's not good. Like you're trying to use car salesman yourself
Sometimes
into believing
cars work, my friend.
that, not as good as new cars. It's like
you can make it pretty good.
You're trying to convince yourself, most of all, that Spurs is not in as much trouble as the world sees it in.
No, nobody.
And there's something we want to talk about. We was talking about it the other day, like, because I was talking about Lloyd makes a lot of points. He's like, they talk about, on the radio in England, how what's Levy's first name?
Daniel.
It's like
Daniel Levy, yeah.
Daniel Levy is such a good businessman. But if he's such a good businessman, why did he sell so many great players that have gone on to win so many titles? Like how much money are you really making when you sell the title?
I think we talked about it already last week. I don't think we should talk about it again. It's just nothing changed. We just won a big game that helped Chelsea, and Neil haven't mentioned it on the podcast once. Thank you, Tottenham.
Neil. You know what? I don't like siding with Martin, but I was going to go through the teams anyway and how they ended the season. So let's just do that. So then Martin's really offended, Neil, that Spurs got you guys into the finals and you haven't brought it up. You acting like you got there yourselves.
Yep.
It's pretty disrespectful.
He didn't like it.
I was really happy. Well, the thing was, I was watching the game at a bar in LA, and there was a moment in the game where I kind of realized that there's no way we are winning it. So let's just shift focus. There's more chance of these Spurs guys scoring than us. So we got this.
At what point did you shift focus though? When you shift focus, Spurs are down 2-1.
Yeah, Spurs are down 2-1. But I still felt that there's more chance of these guys scoring because I think we were almost 2-0 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we couldn't see that's the thing with even like the Champions League final. We need so many things to go right for us to have a goal that it's not going to happen in the last 20 minutes of a game out of nowhere. So when the Aston Villa game went that way,
you don't actually need a lot of stuff to go right to score a goal.
We do.
You just need to stay onside to score to make one of those goals count.
That's half of the.
I mean, Jesus,
half of the problem. Yeah,
like, Warner, stay onside, please.
And
so let's just go through. Go ahead.
Yeah. So just to finish up on what Spurs. I mean, I've been saying this for a very long time. Like one of the biggest complaints I have about rating people like Harry Kane is that they don't show up when it matters. But I'm wrong. Like I take that back. They finally did show up when it matters. It was for Chelsea, though. So I'm really very happy for that.
He showed up to get into the Continental League because that's what matters.
The Intertoto Cup, yeah.
The Intertoto Cup. So, what do you guys think of Man City's 86-point championship winning season? For me personally, I felt like at the beginning of the season it was going to be between Liverpool and Man City, and Man City got first and won the title. And we all know what happened to Liverpool. But Lee, what do you think overall, Man City season so far?
It's a bit of a weird one because they still lost 6 games this season. I think they started quite slow.
They were 11. They were 11.
But I think once they sort of hit their stride, once they figured it out, and they were just unstoppable. So it was an interesting one. Yeah, like I say, it looked like it was anyone's season about 2 months, 3 months in. But then, as soon as they cracked it, they were gone. And they've won it without even breaking a sweat, really. it must be one of the earliest title wins, I think, just because everyone else was so inconsistent. So yeah, it's interesting though. I think Man United only lost the same amount of games. They both only lost 6 games, City and United, but United drew 11 and City only drew 5. So that's where the big difference is. But I think, you know, worthy winners.
Worthy winners. Neil, put some respect on Man City's name.
And Tottenham name.
It's always fun when Man City.
Still waiting for the thank you. Still waiting for the thank you.
No, thank you very much. We really wouldn't. There was no way we were going to do anything in that game. So I was definitely a Tottenham Hotspur fan during the entirety of that second half. Yeah, now just be nice and send Harry Kane to us for like 100 million.
What do you think about Man City's season?
Man City, I think they did what they had to do. They were pretty much in cruise control for most of the game, for most of the season. And once Liverpool kind of went out of the picture, they just like seized on it and made it count. It was kind of like you remember the Leicester season where they won and there wasn't really it was like a make-believe fight, but there wasn't really a fight. Man City this season, I feel like it was a very much more efficient version of that same thing. Like they took care of what they had to take care. The fact that they only ended up with 86 points shows that it wasn't really a great season, even by Pep's and Man City's standards. So if any of the other teams had put a little bit of because you look at Liverpool had a period till I think Christmas where they were top of the league or close to top of the league, and then they had relegation formula for about 2 months. 3 months, and now again they've won like 9 out of their, or like 8 or 9 out of their last 10.
Right.
Chelsea were top of the league on December 3rd, and then they had a horror month and a half under Lampard, which led to Lampard sacking. And since Tuchel came in, we are second in the league. So it was just that a lot of teams fell off a cliff for a certain period, but Man City always stayed afloat and did what took care of the teams that they had to take care of.
I feel like Liverpool at the end of the season pulled Manchester United from Project Restart. Like when Project Restart started, we had like 9 games and we were out of the top 4. By the time Project Restart was over, we didn't. Yeah. I don't think we lost any of those 9 games, and we were 3rd. And then Liverpool did the same thing. They were out of the top 4, and with 10 games left, they won I think 8 out of 8 and drew 2, and got into the top 3rd spot and moved Leicester out into 5th. So yeah, I feel like there's a similarity there. And what do you guys think of Manchester United season? Martin.
Well, it ended better than I expected at the very beginning when you guys lost 6-1 to the Spurs. So definitely it was better after that. But ultimately you didn't win the trophy. I would say if you won the Europa League, it would be a pretty good season. But because you didn't win that trophy, it's an okay season, I guess.
That's fair. Lee, what you got? And what are they saying out there?
Like I said, it's a good season, but not a spectacular one. I still think, though, you need to respect the fact that United lost the same amount of games as City, like I said, and also unbeaten away all season, which is quite an impressive feat. But they did it without ever really looking amazing. I think Solskjaer just hasn't quite figured out the best team, and also didn't really manage to utilise much of the depth of the club as well. So I think there's obviously still more to do, but it's certainly not a bad season. I think you can't complain finishing second to that City team, getting to a Europa League final. So it's I think it's better than a lot of people would have maybe expected from Solskjaer this season. I think he's exceeded expectations in himself. But I mean, I think you need to push on and get a little bit closer to City next season for him to keep his job.
I agree. Neil?
Yeah, I think United had the kind of season that at the beginning of the season I was hoping Chelsea would have. Like, I was not expecting us to challenge for the title, but top four should be very secure and not the last minute scramble that it became for us. So I think Solskjaer and the team, I think they did a good job making sure that happened. I don't know how much of value should be put into the fact that they didn't win the Europa League, because as you're saying that, Manchester United as a club does not need. Solskjaer probably needs it, because you've seen now with Arsenal and Arteta, even when he's having a really bad time, it helps him that he has the FA Cup win on his resume to, just to buy himself some more time. So Oli now does not have that for 2.5 seasons now. He doesn't have a trophy win. And also, I think it is kind of important for that group of players to win something together. It could be any, it could be even the Carabao Cup or whatever. Once you start winning, I think that belief is really very important, because all of our teams right now, United, Chelsea, and Liverpool is on the same bucket right now, because even they had a similar season to ours. They're all going to be looking to, make that title challenge next season. So if you had won something, that belief really helps for when you're in positions to actually challenge for the title.
Yeah,
so,
tell me about it.
So yeah, I think it was a good season. It just feels a little underwhelming. I don't know why.
It's a good season. It's underwhelming, but definitely a good season. And I know Solskjaer's lost, was it 3 or 4 semifinals and a final?
Yeah.
It still makes me think of Klopp. Like Klopp, when he first got to Liverpool, he had won titles in Germany, but he lost a Europa League, and he lost a few more finals with Liverpool before winning. But you could see the team growing and getting better and turning into something, which is kind of what I see with Solskjaer. Now, people will say, well, Solskjaer don't have any titles. He doesn't have any major titles like Klopp won in Germany, you're right. But you can't deny the trajectory. It's like you get closer and then you actually go into the thing and then you actually lose the thing, but then you have to come back and prove yourself. And I feel like our players needed to learn that lesson. Solskjaer needed to learn that lesson. And then we have to figure out what to add. So to make the team, to answer the questions that were asked of the team that the team couldn't answer, we have to get some players. We have to know where we're going to get them from.
I think one thing that will be held against, and it should be held against Solskjaer, is that United are in the Europa League because they dropped out of the Champions League in the group stages, and they were in a good position to actually make it to the knockout round, and they didn't take advantage of it. So
make it to the what?
To the knockout rounds of the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
You finished third, right? So that's something again. Next season, you will have to kind of look at it and figure out how you can do one better, because it's no point just qualifying for Champions League year after year after year without actually that leading to something.
Yeah, and we could have easily got to the knockout round. We fucked up.
Yeah,
fucked up hard. What do you guys think about Liverpool's season? 69 points after being close to having 100 points last season.
It actually ended pretty good. They were playing like Liverpool in the last month of the season. It was Liverpool and Arsenal that won the last 5 games, I believe. So definitely a very good end of the season. They reminded of what kind of team they are, even without Van Dijk, Matip, with restructured defense. So they will be in the serious contention next year. Another team to make it difficult for City, for United, for Chelsea. It's gonna be very competitive next year for sure.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that problem is not Spurs.
No, we're on the outside, but that we might be the surprise team getting into top 4 just as a surprise team without pressure, without much expectations. If things go right, why not? But we're not the favorite for sure. We're not.
Oh yeah, you're not. Neil, what do you feel about Chelsea? They're 4th, 67 points.
I think at the beginning of the season, my target for this season was get to 80 points. I knew we were not going to compete for the title, but when I said 80 points, it was kind of assuming that a title would be a 90 plus points, like it has been for the last 4 seasons in the Premier League. So obviously that kind of like, the entire league kind of has underperformed. So in terms of the league, we did the bare minimum, getting to the top 4. But so therefore, from the league point of view, we kind of underachieved. But then again, if you look at Tuchel in the last, he got to 38 points in his half a season. So he's almost there, that 80, and there or thereabouts at 80 points mark, if you like, proportionately scale it up. But on the Champions League side, again, I didn't expect us to be anywhere near, like Chelsea had not won a Champions League knockout round in 7 years. So I had not expected, where we are right now. So that's definitely an punching way above our weight. Again, disappointed to not.
Can't hear you. We lost you. Can't hear you. Lee, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't hear Neil though.
Yeah, Neil, we can't hear you.
Oh, damn. Okay. Let me see if I can.
He's back.
You just came back. Yeah, now we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just saying that from the league point of view, I think we kind of underachieved. But if you look at what Tuchel did in half a season, getting 38 points, he's near about that, 80-point target that I had mentally. But on the Champions League side, we've overachieved, way overachieved. You win the final now. And so I think on the balance of it, it's been a successful season. Now, it would really be one of the best seasons as a Chelsea fan if we can, win the final. But I think there's enough in there to show that the target for next season, which should be, there's no questions asked. It's a non-negotiable. Next season, we have to challenge for the title. I think
if you won the Champions League by some miracle, you'd still you'd still have to buy a forward next year, according to you.
Not according to me, according to Tuchel. I am still happy with Tammy Abraham.
Oh, okay.
But Tuchel's not, so he has to go by a striker. So, and that's pretty much. I think Lukaku is going to be, as you were saying, right, with Conte gone. I think the one thing that was making Lukaku unrealistic was how much he loves playing under Conte. So I think now that that's gone, I think we might go and get Lukaku finally.
For the 3rd time?
Yeah, for the 3rd time finally, yeah.
Oh, boy. I'm not going to comment on that.
Hey, I've heard he's improved. I don't watch enough of the series.
Yeah, I think he's worked on his touch. Yeah, he's definitely worked on his touch.
Yeah.
It's so messed up when he could have just did that when he was at Manchester United. But it's also not his fault because was he there before Mourinho or Mourinho got him?
Mourinho got him. But like Mourinho was using him more as a
and then
target
Mourinho
man,
went and got
that was
Ibrahimovic too.
Yeah,
So
like Mourinho was using him more as a target man. That's really not the kind of player that he is. So yeah, maybe there was something there too, like could have been used a little better. But yeah, he was definitely not a success at United.
Right. What do you think of Leicester's?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. 80% of the time in the last 2 years, they were in the top 4, or maybe even 90% of the time. And they ended up the same way, 5th on the outside, which kind of questions Rodgers a little bit, that he didn't get it done 2 years in a row, even with having such a good season. So definitely something to look at, that again, they didn't get it done. And even with all the hype, even with playing so well for most of the season. The end result, it is what it is.
And what's that? They won a trophy?
No, I mean, they finished
And they came fifth?
They're not in the Champions League, finally, you know,
Let me ask you a question.
for most of the season.
Why would you question Rodgers when you know it's an injury thing and a lack of depth for the squad thing? It's like Rodgers would make you a great manager.
One time is a coincidence.
Can I just say one thing I know about Rodgers is if you providing with stuff, he'll turn your team into a good team. So it's not a him thing as opposed to, you know, Leicester City's resources.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you say some of the things you said about Rodgers?
So there's this word from Ian Fleming from James Bond books. Once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, 3 times is enemy action. So 2 times he missed on Champions League, and so that's not a happenstance anymore, you know. So it's if it happened once, that's different, but it happened twice, and he also lost the title on the last in the last 2 weeks of the season when he was at the Liverpool. He doesn't close, you know. One of the famous politicians in Poland said it once. What differentiates a real man from not real man? The real man knows how to finish. And Brandon Rodgers doesn't finish.
He won a title. He finished
in Scotland with Celtic, which is not that difficult. I mean,
he won in the Premier. He won. Didn't he just win the FA Cup?
He won the FA Cup. Okay, we're talking about the league, about the Premier League. He almost won the league once. He didn't. He almost got to the Champions League twice. He didn't.
But Martin, but we just mentioned the lack of depth in his squad and injuries. Like it's not like he had everything. It's like we're gonna get to Liverpool soon. Or we talked about Liverpool. We know why Liverpool had a tough season. Injuries, right? To key defenders. Brandon, like they sell Chilwell. One of the players they won a title against was against Chilwell, and
they got money for Chilwell. It's not like they just like Chilwell went for $0. Like they got the money, fair price for Chilwell.
And they replaced the favorite player.
Yeah, and you know the thing with the depth, they lost 4-2 to Newcastle, and then they had their best team out there. They had all these guys, all the guys we talked about.
They're losing 4-0 in that game.
Leicester. There was no reason. There's no footballing reason for them to lose to Leicester to Newcastle. Fashion.
To Leicester. Leicester is no. You said for Leicester to lose to Newcastle.
Yeah, they lost 4-2, and
actually there was because Newcastle for the first time got all their players back. Callum Wilson was playing. St. Maximin was back, and Willock.
Wow!
And Willock.
How is that?
Because St. Maximin had Corona the entire most of the season, so he just was back. He's a very annoying player. Like this guy will cut through your defense, and then you have Willock and you have Callum Wilson who scores but just has injuries. So then
they also had John Joe Shelby on that team.
Top 4, you need to.
John Joe Shelby is playing in Pirlo's position. He's like the central midfielder passing the ball out.
No matter what Newcastle and Steve Bruce put on the pitch, you can't, as Brendan Rodgers. If you're Brendan Rodgers, you're going in for a job interview at like Chelsea, United, maybe even Spurs. Well, Spurs is lower in the table right now, but
so let me ask you a question.
Any of these top jobs, and if you're asked this question and you go, oh well, you know what, John Joe Shelby and St. Maximum, that's the reason why I couldn't, seal the deal. Nobody's gonna, and FA Cup wins really don't impress.
Plus you have injuries.
Yeah, but how often are you gonna keep saying that? Like everybody has injuries. It's happened 2 seasons in a row now.
I mean, I wouldn't mess with Brandon Rodgers on a team.
And they had a huge lead. Like this time, they had an even bigger lead than last time. I think they had like a 10-point lead at one point, and they still bottled it.
Plus, they were in more competitions. They were in a competition to the final. Plus, you have injuries, and then the other team has players coming back. Like, I just I just wouldn't. I
By the
wouldn't
way,
sleep on
they
Brendan
also
Rodgers like
they,
that.
they also went out to a
Didn't
team
get
from a
the
country
job
I don't even know which country it was in the Europa League knockouts. So I'm sure
Didn't
that
get the
that
job done.
team didn't have they had
Nice
injuries.
So
job.
you.
Showed
So,
up,
but what about the trophy they won against Man City?
played nice football, were a surprise package, did some good stuff.
Who did they?
At the end of the
No,
day,
they
didn't get the job done. Period.
he won a title against Chelsea. My bad, not Man City.
Didn't get the job done at the end of the day. He didn't win the game against Chelsea that mattered, which was the game that they lost.
Well, maybe it doesn't matter to them. That I mean, that could be another thing. Like maybe Leicester and Brendan Rodgers. They're for Leicester as a club. I understand completely that the FA Cup win means more than getting top four. Because I mean,
no, it's not anymore. It used to. 20 years ago, it was more important, but not anymore.
no, but they still get European football through the Europa League. There's no point going to the Champions League and completely embarrassing yourself because they embarrass themselves in the Europa League.
Why would they embarrass themselves in the Champions League?
Because they embarrass themselves in the Europa League. So the chances of them embarrassing themselves.
No, actually, the last time.
But why though? But what's the
they went to
details? Like
quarterfinals.
why?
Well, they lost to. I can't even remember the team they lost to. I think it was it's some Croatian team or some Polish team.
No, we lost to the Croatian team. We did.
Okay, so then they lost. Yeah. Okay. So. I mean,
last time Leicester played,
but I guess the reason why I keep asking you because it's almost like you're saying the squad is not good enough. That's why they lost, and so why bring that squad to the Champions League? And that's my whole point, where the squad is not good enough.
No, I think it's a pretty good squad. There are a lot of players. There are a lot of players in that squad who, a lot of top teams. That's why sales keep happening from Leicester every season. Because they always have good players. I mean, fine, you can create the scouting department, the recruitment department and stuff. But the fact is, when a manager gets this squad with him in his hands, he has a good squad available to him. And then
do you think another coach would do the job that Brandon Rodgers did with this team?
Get them fifth or sixth? Yeah. I think there's a number of coaches that could have done it.
Just any coach would have done it.
But Ranieri actually did the job. He actually.
I mean, Brendan Rodgers is a good coach. I'm not saying that he isn't, but I'm just saying that he's not. These are question marks that will hinder him from taking that next step. It's happened many times now.
I don't know. What do you think, Lee?
I think
about Brendan Rodgers.
If someone had just said, Leicester are going to finish 5th 2 seasons in a row and win an FA Cup, and you didn't have any of the context, that would sound like 2 great seasons for Leicester. But I think the nature of how they finished 5th, having been in there for so long, is the problem. Because, I mean, I know Newcastle improved towards the end of the season, but if you want to be top 4, if you want to qualify for the Champions League, you need to be putting teams like them away. No matter how good they're playing, you need to be, because that's the game that's cost them, essentially. They're a point out. That's what's hurt them. That and losing to Chelsea, if they'd have got a draw against Chelsea, that could have done it for them. And then obviously,
but they weren't going to,
and it was a complete collapse against Spurs as well, a complete collapse. So I think, they did it to themselves. It's still a good season. Like I say, 5th in the FA Cup. If you take all the context out, that's still a great season. But the nature of the way they slipped and fell, I don't think the injuries was that big a problem for them, not to the extent that Liverpool had. Obviously, Vardy was out for a little bit. Castagna was out for a little bit. James Justin, who I really rate, I think was a big miss for them. And Pereira, they missed for sort of the first half of the season. But I think they were almost a victim of the fact that they overachieved prior to that bit at the end of the season. So almost they've set the bar too high, and then they've not been able to meet it for the rest of the season.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they overachieved, and that's why I rate Brandon Rodgers. It's just the way they overachieved. They overachieved and then underachieved from their overachievement. So if they came from 7th and went 5th, then everybody be like, "Oh shit!" But it's just that they got the points early. But this was that type of league. Like Villa got a lot of points early. Southampton got a lot of points early. Like a lot of teams were at the top of the league early and fell out. Like, Liverpool was at the top, then they fell down, and they came back, and it's like, but I rate him. So let's go to West Ham. David Moyes,
Great job.
Jesse Lingard,
Yeah.
Mikel Antonio, is it Souček?
Souček.
Fornals, and
Yeah, very good season for sure.
Declan Rice.
Surprising season that brought David Moyes back into being respected as a manager again, and definitely buys him time at West Ham to build something. Maybe he'll stay there for the next 10 years. Who knows?
I think West Ham is the team that deserves, like we were talking about Leicester, like they overachieved. I think West Ham is the team that really overachieved, and they maintained, where their destiny was for the season, and they managed to get top 6 football. And they had injuries too. They had injuries. They found heroes from here and there, and they got the job done. They probably gonna play in Europe after a very, very long time.
Yeah, like, see, that's the thing. I agree with you. Like the injury excuse, and but here's my thing: did they really overachieve over the years? West Ham has been spending a lot of money. It's just didn't work out, and Moyes came after he left, and this time made the money work out. So West Ham kind of should have been before where they are now.
Yeah, I think they've punched over their weight a little bit though, because you'd still expect Spurs to finish above them. You'd still expect Arsenal to finish above them. Because on paper, their squad
whose
is like
fault is that?
West Ham's squad on paper is like a 9th, 10th position squad, really.
Yeah.
Even 12th, I would say. Everton have a better team than West Ham.
Yeah, you'd expect Spurs, Everton, Arsenal all to finish above them, really.
Wolves have a very good team on paper.
Nah, but they had a terrible injury season. Like, once Jimenez went out, it was a wrap. Because then it takes Traore out. Because Traore plays off Jimenez. And he tried to do it with the young kid from Portugal, but the kid doesn't know the moves.
Every kid there is from Portugal.
And so what? Yeah, I know. But the kid from the Fabio Silva. It's just, he towards the end of the season, you could see like the link up got a little bit better, but it's just you.
Yeah, but they had a lot of quality players. Semedo from Barcelona, they brought. They have Ruben Neves. I mean, that's a very, very strong team on paper. Very strong team.
Yeah, but it's also like
it's a lot of.
But their defense is. You need the score. Like, if you go to Wolves, right? Let me see. Like, which one of these is ties?
Then you have England's center back playing for them. I mean, there's plenty of talent on the team.
That guy, they're trying him out, but Cody is full of flaws. Like,
he's on the team for Euros.
I mean, would you take him? Like, I'm not disrespecting him. I don't want to disrespect players, but there's a certain level for like an international. And I don't think, is it Connor Cody?
Yeah.
I don't think like on a great England team that's going to achieve something, he would make a great England team.
I think in the England squad that was announced, centre-back is the weakest position that we have.
Oh, there you go.
I think our forwards are good, midfielders are good, the fullbacks are good, but centre-backs, you look at them, none of them are world-class or even close to world-class. And I'm really surprised that even that Cody and Godfrey and White got in ahead of Tomori, because I think he's had a great season to plan. He's playing for a big club in a big league, big results that he's played a part in, and he didn't. The Premier League bias, I think, from Southgate a bit.
And Cody, I think, might play. He has a real legitimate shot of playing at Euros.
Yeah, so I just, Martin, when you say Wolves, like I don't know, West Ham.
Well, I mean, for me, they were one of the most biggest disappointments. Actually, they might be the biggest disappointment of the season in terms of underachieving. That's the Wolves, in my opinion.
But do you think it's a disappointment when how is it a disappointment when you know what happened to them? I feel like a disappointment is when
but
a team just falls apart. Maybe we have different criteria for disappointment. A disappointment is like when a team does not achieve what they did the year before and you don't know why. At least for Liverpool, you can see why. For Wolves, you could see why.
No, I still disagree. I think I mean, they had some injuries, but not even close to Liverpool type of injuries. And before
let's talk disappointment.
And before the season started, a lot of people, including myself, saw Wolves as a potential of making top 4 potential with the team they have, because they really do have a lot of quality on the team. And it's not just the starting lineup. Like Leicester, you might say they kind of have a short bench, even if their starting lineup is very strong. Wolves, they have strong 18.
I mean, yeah. But let's talk about real disappointments. And when we talk about disappointments, this falls under my criteria of disappointments, because I still can't figure out why Spurs was so bad this year.
I mean, we discussed that, already last week. I mean, completely. The Mourinho experiment didn't work out, and then it was just about salvaging the season. Now the new season will bring new reality. So we'll see.
What's your grade for them for this season? What's your grade? Not your grade. What do you think about them this season?
No, it was that season for sure.
Lee, what are your thoughts on Spurs season?
Just bad signings. Mourinho just hasn't worked out there. So I think it's a big call, whoever they appoint next. And I think Levy needs to back them for a rebuild. I don't think Martin says maybe 1 or 2 players, but I think 1 or 2 players, one or two players might get them top 6. 1 or 2 players might get them top 6.
If it's a different manager.
Martin, we let you finish. You gotta let Lee
clarify my where I stand.
I think 1 or 2 players, even with Pochettino, would maybe get top 6. But I mean, if you've got any aspirations of Champions League football, that team needs a complete rebuild, really, other than 3 or 4 players maybe. And that's a big job. That's a big job for whoever gets it, because standards are high. I think Lloris isn't a top quality Premier League goalkeeper anymore. He was, but he's not anymore. None of the fullbacks, Reguilon maybe, because he can acclimatise still, but I don't think any of the fullbacks are good enough. The centre backs aren't good enough.
No.
The midfield, Ndombele looked good at times. Højbjerg looked okay at times, but they're not Champions League quality for me. It's only really Son and Kane and Bale on his day that are real quality. So if they want to accept being a 6th, 7th place, 5th place team, then buy 1 or 2 players. But it needs something special, I think, to crack top 4, especially when Liverpool are going to be stronger, Chelsea are going to be stronger next season, and obviously City as well. So it's a big job for whoever gets it.
True.
Neil, what do you think about Spurs season?
I think anytime one of the big 6 teams does not end in the top 6 positions, it's a failure, and that's what happened with both Arsenal and Tottenham this season. And I think the most surprising thing is, I mean, of course, the Jose Mourinho appointment did not work or whatever, but Harry Kane and Heung-min Son were the 2 best attackers in the league. Like, if you look at it statistically, they were both among the in the top 5 of attackers in the league. How do you have that insane advantage over the rest of the field and still finish 7th? Like that, I mean, that just shows like a lot of games where just went past. So I don't think, even for Harry Kane, I know he's won the Golden Boot, I don't think he would have a lot of fond memories of this season. Because his career technically right now starts from now. Like, whatever he's done so far, it's kind of like he's pissing in the wind. Like, okay, he did it, but it never really amounted to anything. And like, if I ask you right now, top 5 memorable Harry Kane moments, we'll all have to just go to Wikipedia and look up how many goals he scored. Like, it's not a lot. So what he does from now on, where he goes, and I think that's gonna be the most interesting Spurs news of the summer, because I know Martin's hoping for somebody like Pochettino or Antonio Conte to come along. I don't think that's happening. I think.
It's happening. Either or, it's happening. Yeah.
I don't think either or is happening.
I know so.
I think you were more realistic in the previous episodes when you were trying to have Hasenhuttl cheat on Lee. I think that's probably what
I like Hasenhuttl. I'll personally hire him if I was the chairman of Tottenham, but I don't think that's happening. I think Pochettino or Conte is happening. Actually, I do.
I really don't. I don't see any uptake, anything like anything in it for either of them, unless they get like offered a huge insane salary.
It's a very simple.
I heard they're going to offer Conte 20 mil.
Yeah, that's making the highest paid manager in the world. But why, like Conte? He's worked so hard to be this winning machine.
He wants to win.
Why would he go to a team that's in the Conference League? And
one more time, I'm reminding you, my friend, that you finished 12th one season, and they were competing for the title following season. So it's
we were competing. Yeah, we were winning the title the previous season too, and we still had all those players. You guys are going to be losing. He's going to come into
we haven't lost those guys yet. Let's see if they go first, and then we'll judge. Right now we're judging something that didn't happen. Kane is still Tottenham player. Son is still Tottenham player.
Martin, I know you watched the Tottenham game. Did you see the hugging with Dele Alli and the goodbyes on the field at the end of the Tottenham game?
Yeah. What if Pochettino comes back and talks to him and talks him into staying? We never know where things happen.
Why would he trust Pochettino again when he could? Let me ask you a question. Martin, let me ask you a question. You're Harry Kane. You're 27, 28, and if you went to City, you would win, no question. What is keeping you at Spurs? Another promise of another coach from the same GM that made you the promises before? Like, why would you do that when you could just walk out the door to the other city, put on blue, and be a champion? What's keeping
Leo Messi
at Spurs?
Why? After finishing third, he's got only a few years left on his contract, but he will.
Because he's Lionel Messi and he's won with them before.
Okay.
So there is like a trust of like.
For sure he's leaving. 100%. That's his last.
Who said that?
He handed a transfer request. To Barcelona.
Yeah.
And he's staying.
And then they got rid of the guy. Then they got rid of the guy.
Tell you, let's wait until they actually sell him, and then discuss what happens after they sell him. So far, they didn't sell him. So let's make this discussion about life without Kane, club without Kane, when there is actually no Kane.
Right. No, but
now,
even okay, let's assume that Kane is still there. Let's assume that Kane is still
at the official website, and he's still there right now.
Okay, but even the reality
Neil,
is.
Can I just say something?
Okay, yes, sure.
I just have a feeling when Kane is gone, Martin's going to say, he's gone. Let's not talk about him going. Let's talk about what we are doing right now.
Let's live in the moment. That's
what you're going to say. Let's live in the moment. He's gone. Let's not talk. That's why we want to talk about it now.
But I think the reality is that for even if, let's say, assume Harry Kane is still at Tottenham, the reality for any manager coming in is that even at Harry Kane having the best season of his life makes that team come seventh. So it's not that's not really moving the needle along.
Memorable moment from Harry Kane. I'll tell you memorable moment for Harry Kane from last weekend when he saved your ass with a goal and assist. How about that?
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's a memorable moment for Chelsea.
Beautiful goal first half, and then he had assist to Gareth Bale for 2-2. So that's a memorable moment.
Okay, he's got one, and that's for Chelsea. Point proven.
Really memorable moment, I would say.
Lee, what are you thinking?
What about?
I know you're turning red with amusement as you listen to Martin. So I'm assuming you have some thoughts in your head. That's all. I'm just looking at the screen, making observant. You weren't this red before we started talking about. Before Martin started like getting in denial about Tottenham. So I'm wondering.
I'm just saying, are you there? He's still there.
I mean, I already said earlier, I think they just, it's such a huge job for whoever takes it. And that is, like Neil said, that's with Kane. Even with Kane, it's a huge job for someone. If Kane goes, it's really interesting. They have to make a lot of decisions that they're going to need to get right if that happens. So yeah, it's a huge summer.
Let's go to Arsenal. They finished 1 point behind Spurs. What do you think of their season?
Very good.
Martin, go ahead.
Very good finish of the season. I think, if they can maintain that. The problem is they were, jumping back and forth between winning few games in a row, losing few games in a row, winning few games in a row, losing few games in a row. And they ended the season winning last five games, playing really good football. So if they can figure out how to stay consistent, there will be a threat for top 6. I wouldn't say top 4. Before this, I said they'll finish 8th, and they finished it. So right about that. I think they have potential to finish top 6 next season if they figure it out and make a little bit of an overhaul. Not a lot of an overhaul, a little bit of an overhaul. Probably, going with the younger players in bigger roles, and they're capable of finishing top 6. But will they do that? I'm not sure.
Do you think they're going to keep Arteta?
For now, they should. Yeah, he finished the season strong.
What do you think, Lee?
It kind of reminds me of last season, because last season they finished strong. They won the FA Cup, and everyone was like, "Oh, Arsenal are going to be good next season." I think they're tricking us into the same thing again this season. But I think because really you think they haven't really moved on in 12 months. I mean, they didn't win the FA Cup this year, so you could argue they've gone backwards. But I think one thing Arteta has done well is he brought on the young players again. So Smith Rowe and Saka have both progressed. So they need some additions next year. Obviously, David Luiz is going, which is probably a good thing. So they need to add another defender in. Willian's going to leave, apparently back to Chelsea, which...
We've seen the stories, Neil. We've seen the actual stories.
Lee sent that to me, and I was like, I really hope this is a joke. But he can want to come. Like, I think that's what the story said. He wants to come. Fine, he's going to come. Stadium visits are, I think, at 4:30 p.m. every day. You get a nice little tour of the museum.
It'd be one of those ones though where like he wants to come, so when he turns up at Stamford Bridge, he just lights and pretend no one's home.
Treated like a Jehovah's Witness.
The protests outside Stamford Bridge with all the flares and stuff. That's kind of William shows up.
Be you the one that organized the protests.
Oh, there's
we know
enough.
For sure.
There's enough of us.
Well, it's interesting also what they're gonna do with Aubameyang. Who when he's on, he can still be a dangerous striker, but he obviously for personal reasons he didn't have a very good season. And the question is he too old? Isn't he too old? Can he still play at elite level or not? So it's a decision because he's got one of the biggest contracts in the league. So it's a big decision to make.
Well, but they also, on the bright side, could look at Pepe. Like you could see him gradually getting better playing in the English league, and he just lacked composure, but you could see it coming towards the end of the season. So you're gonna have Pepe and Aubameyang. His mom was sick, and then he had malaria. While everybody was having corona, he went out and got malaria because he's not a hack. He wants to be original, and so if his mom is good this year and he doesn't get malaria again, you might see Aubameyang being back to Aubameyang. But everybody has injuries and stuff go wrong with them. I at the beginning I thought Arteta needs a defense. This team needs a defense, and they have the same problem as their rivals Spurs. It's two London teams with decent enough scoring, but no defense, and that's a huge rebuild and focus. So
I think there's just too many problems with when you talk about a club like Arsenal. I don't think it's a very obvious thing that needs to be. You fix this and it's done. I think they just have too many problems before they can get back to that level of.
Like what? Like
Um,
name some of them specifically.
I mean, they don't have accomplished goal scorers. They don't have accomplished defenders. They have a keeper who's made a lot of mistakes this season. They play in a style that initially it looks like it's a very defensive style, but at some point they again, like in December, January, they started playing more attacking when Smith Rowe became more prominent. Odegaard was having a good spell, but now they kind of like seems like they've kind of slipped back into that. So yeah, it's not going to be an easy fix. Again, Arteta, I don't know if he's going to stay, but if he stays, I don't think it's either him or like any other new coach coming in. I think it's going to be a steep climb back to the top four.
All right. We'll have time to talk about Leeds. My thing about Leeds was I like how they play, and it's pretty simple. Some of the main stuff that they do, like they never cut the ball back to let the defender get back in front of them so they can see the whole pitch. It's forward, forward, forward. And it's like, even if a pass is going to be a 50-50 pass between the forward on Leeds and the defender who might take it from him, they'll still put that ball down that channel into that area. Like, I've never seen a team like in any league that I can remember, maybe there is, that was just so direct. Like, none of their players in the middle of the pitch, like when they feel pressure from behind them, relieve that pressure by like turning and letting that pressure pass them and get in front of them so that they can have a false sense of security, because now the person who's pressuring them from behind is in front of them and they can see them. They'll absorb that pressure and pass the ball to their teammate that's making that run. Like, it must be the team where most runs are rewarded. And it's like, they'll rather the forward lose the ball attempting to shoot or running for the pass. And I think it's just being effective. I think if they ever spent money on like a world-class forward, the league would be in trouble, because they make the chances. You just need probably better finishing. And next year, Bamford will be better. So they were a joy to watch.
I think that I expected them to burn out under Bielsa. I think a lot of people did, but they carried the form on, which was really good. But I think for me, Rafinha was one of the most underrated signings of the season. I think he's been fantastic for them. And Jack Harrison's really impressed me as well. He stepped up. He's become a Premier League player when, I think there wasn't much faith in him at City. Obviously, we're happy to loan him out. But he's proven this year that he's every bit a Premier League player. So, I think they're two guys who are both really underrated. But Rafinha, apparently, when Bruno Fernandes was at Sporting Lisbon, Bruno said that he was his favourite player to play with. So who knows? United could do worse than having a look at him.
I think Rafinha like grew into the league and the style of play, and now towards the end of the season, like the season ended, he's like, oh shit, I'm ready to go now. I know it, but it's like, now that the season ends, bro. So let's see if he brings that energy back at the beginning.
Yeah, I think his numbers are pretty good for the season. Let me just have a quick look.
All right.
Because I think he got a lot of assists. Nine assists and 6 goals for a winger, which isn't too bad.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
That's
First
3
season.
Willian seasons of Willian.
So hilarious.
I think Rafinha might be one of the most underrated signings of this coming summer too. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be clubs that are gonna look in, take a good look at him.
Yeah, but is Leeds gonna sell? Like, what now? It's time to find out what type of team Leeds is. Like, what their ambitions really are.
Yeah.
Are they here to make a buck, or are they here to win some trophies? So, that's another interesting thing about some of these teams. Like, you know, a lot of them might say, we're here to win, but if there's like 50 mil to be made, especially after there was no fans in the stadium,
Yeah.
and they lost some money in those areas, and you won't be able to make it back, you might, like, we'll see who these teams really are.
Yeah.
What do you think about Southampton seasons, Lee? Before we
Just bad. I mean, obviously fantastic in the first half, but the second half of the season was painful to watch. Our new kit's out, which looks quite nice. So,
Nice.
it's we switched to Hummel, who I quite like their shirts. So, yeah, I'm just hopeful that will maybe be better next season. But I mean, I'm not hugely confident unless the chairman spends some money, which I've said before. But he's not really investing too much, so I think it could be a very mediocre season next season. As much as I love Hasenhüttl and we have some good players, I think we haven't got any depth. So yeah, I'm not expecting anything great, but I still think we'll not get relegated, hopefully.
do you think Hasenhüttl's going to stay?
Yeah, one more season at least.
Why?
Just because I don't think I think he actually devalued his reputation in the second half of the season. I think there's still some clubs who would take him, but I don't think any of the big clubs would take him. I mean, Spurs might have a look, but none of the big clubs will be interested, I don't think.
Even though it was a depth problem, an injury problem.
Oh yeah, I think that he likes the amount of control. There's no politics really at our place other than the chairman not spending money, but Hasenhüttl has been allowed to structure all of the academy coaching syllabus. He gets a full control over everything from the first team downwards. And I think he enjoys that, and I think he enjoys living where he's living at the moment. There's a lot of nice environment around the city. So yeah, I think he'll stay for one more season at least. But I don't know how good that season will be just because of the depth and the underinvestment in the team.
What do you think of the? Let me just ask you. I'm gonna ask her, what do you think of the season overall, just period, in the Premier League?
Inconsistent. Not the best quality.
Not Southampton, but the whole league.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, no team for me, apart from City, was really that consistent. We didn't really get a proper title race. The relegation was done early. I think it's just one of the sort of most uneventful, forgettable seasons we'll have for a while.
Oh yeah, you didn't enjoy the drama of Sunday?
Yeah, but normally you get drama that really means something. So like a relegation battle or a title battle. I mean, when it comes to everyone just pinning their hopes on top 4 qualification for entertainment, it's been a pretty boring season.
I don't know. That was the relegation battle to me. To not get relegated out of the top 4 into Europa League or the Continental League was that took. I don't know. That was more interesting to me than there's a relegation battle, but if you stay up by 1 point, why would I care about you? Why would I care? I care more about the Champions League and Europa spots, and my special hate for some teams of looking forward to them not getting in was more exciting than that. But speaking of relegation, like last season, West Ham and Villa almost got relegated. It was like between them and another team, and those 2 teams survived, and West Ham qualified for Europe, and Villa was not far behind them. So as far as turning things around and improving, got to give it up for Villa and for West Ham. And then I was talking to Lloyd, and there's a certain amount of disrespect to teams like Aston Villa. He sends me these fans from Arsenal,
True, not Chelsea.
Well, they just talk about, all we got to do is buy Grealish, give Villa some money, buy Grealish, and then blah 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 blah. And it's like, why would Grealish go to you, Arsenal?
Yeah.
I like Villa. When they were in a full team, they were actually pretty nice to watch, and they kicked our ass. You know, they were definitely, they could have a West Ham type of a season if they were, you know, in full strength. Why not?
I mean, they were close to it. They were, you know, at one point they like. I feel like everybody had a stint at the top of the table in this league. Yeah, I feel like even Fulham was top one time. It's like that's the type of season that started out. Like, you know, there was one point Man City was 11th. Like, if Abramovich owned them, he would have fired Pep.
Yeah, probably.
You know, and not give him a chance to turn it around. So it's just been a crazy season. It's been a fun season. I'm a Man United fan, so I'm glad to finish second. I'm disappointed that we lost the Europa League final and we lost in the semifinals. What was the FA Cup? Who did we lose to? Southampton or something?
Not the
Leicester.
You lost the
Leicester. Yeah. I try to blank out the losses.
You lost to Leicester. The team we didn't mention. I mean, one thing we have to mention, except of the fact that the Wolves were the most disappointing team for sure, but the yo-yo effect with the Premier League, it's kind of interesting that teams, you know, we say goodbye to Fulham and West Brom, and Sheffield United after 2 years, West Brom and Fulham after 1 year, and we welcome back Norwich and
Watford.
And was the second team, Watford, after 1 year. I mean, it's insane and insane. It's like a yo-yo, you know, yo-yo.
Well, it gives Spurs a blueprint to follow when they go down. You know what I mean? That's
I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't
that's
worry
how you
about
come back. I mean, this is gonna be a rough season. Like, you're gonna ask a guy who doesn't like spending money.
Yeah, but why
like,
coming back to the Spurs? You know, like
you know why? Like,
we're not talking Spurs.
Martin's so funny. He's like, why you keep coming back to Martin? You say that, right? But midweek, you text me the worst news possible about Man United anytime you get a chance. Like, you're sending me these things. You're gonna buy Ronaldo, and you know I don't want Ronaldo, but you're excited. But you're excited about the fact that we might make the mistake of buying Ronaldo, and you text me all these things.
I never said it's a mistake. That would be great for you guys. I said was
so you're
for you to not consider him.
How many guys?
For you guys.
How many Neil and Lee, do you think it's a good idea for Manchester United to get Ronaldo?
Yes.
I said Neil and Lee. You already know what you think.
I think if there's no transfer fee, for example, if it's the cheapest deal, yeah, why not? Like, you're already reaping the benefits of having one senior forward in Cavani. I think Ronaldo just takes it to the next level, and then you can, because you guys have young players, but they're just somehow not being able to take the next level. So if you have somebody like Ronaldo who can give you like 20 goals a season, why not? I don't think he's gonna help you like have like an insane season, but he's probably gonna do better than the guys you currently have.
I say we keep building. Like, Liverpool did not go looking for Ronaldo. They went and bought Salah. You know, they went and bought Mane. You know, they went and got Ronaldo. They got young, exciting players, and they built it into something. This is I'm not for that. That's not what we do. We're not the team. Man United's history is like, let's go get the old guy.
Yeah, but what you do right now is not working, right? You haven't won a title in 10 years, so you have to do something different.
No, but we're building, though. We're building.
United have done.
You don't take over.
United have done in the past.
Sheringham won you the Champions League final. You had.
He wasn't a star. He wasn't a star. He was a bench guy. He was a bench guy.
Rakhimovic won you guys Europa League final. You know, you do buy.
He didn't play. I don't think he played in the Europa League final.
Dwight York was already like 30 or something, you know, when you bought him. I mean, you do buy old players, of course.
I don't think he was 30 when we bought him.
There was some other players though, like Laurent Blanc went to United when he was quite old. Henrik Larsson.
And how did that work out? Like, did they win us anything?
Was great for a short term purchase.
Yeah. But he didn't win us anything. I don't think Blanc won us anything.
He won a league.
He was on a team that won a league.
Well, you have Cavani right now. I think Cavani's your best forward this season.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't. We already have Cavani. It's like, why get Ronaldo?
Yeah, a better version of Cavani. Can you imagine Ronaldo Cavani front two, like a combined age of 76 years? It's gonna be insane.
Martin's only telling me about Ronaldo to annoy me.
No,
Let's be
that's
honest.
not true.
Yes, you are. So
No,
I'm
I
only
know that's
bringing
true,
up.
but I still feel he has.
So I'm only bringing up. But the funny thing is, the only ammunition Martin has to kind of annoy me might actually make the team better. The stuff that that's how good of a position Spurs Man United is. Like the stuff that Martin might choose to use to annoy me can actually help the team. But
you're just making my point.
There is nothing good going on with Spurs. There's nothing good going on with Spurs.
I'll take Ronaldo in a heartbeat. He's not going.
But like you said, he wouldn't. You said he wouldn't come there.
He wouldn't come there,
Exactly.
But I'll take him, and you should take him too.
Nah, our teams are built different.
With kissing his hand like a bride, you should take him. Trust me.
Like a bright?
Yes.
You talk about a Will Smith Netflix movie? Like a bright? I don't know. Listen, guys, it's 5. I don't know what time it is in Leeds land, but I'm sure it's late.
1 a.m.
Anybody? 1 a.m. You got any last words, Lee?
Just I hope the playoff final is good on Saturday. Brentford versus Swansea. I'm rooting for Brentford.
Me too.
It's a nice short away trip, and it's a new team who haven't been in the Premier League before, and they run the club really well. They've got one of the smartest scouting networks around at that level. They're very big into analytics as well, and I think that it would just be an interesting addition to the Premier League. But I mean, Swansea have done really well. I really like their manager Cooper as well. He's the guy who won one of the youth tournaments with the England teams. I think he won the under-17s or the under-19s World Cup. So he's an interesting guy as well. He's a young coach. So either way, I think either team will be a good addition. But I'm rooting for Brentford.
I'm rooting for Brentford too because it's a new team. But the only problem if Brentford comes up, where would Aston Villa get players from? Right? Because Brentford are going to need them. But the Swansea thing, coach, is interesting because he will know how to get the best English players for cheap that could potentially be Premier League players because he coached the youth system, and so he'll know where all the gems are and all the people who didn't get a chance to start on their home clubs. So that'll be interesting to see too. So yeah, we'll see. Martin, any last words?
We won the last game of the season in a convincing fashion. Very good win. Let's see what happens. I'm all for it. I like to live in the present and judge by the facts. And the facts are we don't know anything yet. Looks like Pochettino and Conte are an option. Let's see what happens. Let's see who's going to leave, who's going to come in. And then I'll judge based on that. I definitely expect top 6 football next year. Top 4 would be a great accomplishment, and let's hope for that.
But how can you say the facts when Harry Kane walks across the field saying goodbye? Like that's a fact.
Thank for the season and for the support. Let's see what happens next.
All right, Neil, since Martin is kind of delusional.
No, I'm not delusional, and he's a Tottenham player. Facts. Is it a fact? Yes. Huh?
No, I'm good that Lee pointed out this playoff final because I think it's going to be a good one. I've been following a little bit of this of Swansea season because of Mark Gahey, who's on loan from Chelsea, centre back, and he won man of the match in both legs of the playoff semi-finals. So, it'd be great if he could come through with Swansea, but he's somebody to look out for in the future. I'm just right now, my nerves are through the roof, waiting for I think I've seen every video on the internet, every podcast or like every preview that's available, and that's what I'm gonna do between now and Sunday. Like the last time there was Champions League final, I mean we won. We are not expected to win. We won, and I remember like drinking for a straight 24 hours after that.
Damn.
So
So maybe you shouldn't win. So shave your liver.
well, the weird thing is my
Your
body
liver doesn't want you to win.
Yeah, but like my body is 10 years older now, so I don't know if I'll be
Yeah.
able to do that. I'll try, but I'll probably I'll probably pass out trying, or maybe it's just that I'll still be able to do it. It's just that the recovery will take longer, which is great because it's a long weekend, right? So I think I'll use that extra day.
Thanks.
Well, guys, thanks for being on. Thank you, Aaron Brungard, for putting this together, producing it. Lee, baby, better luck. The end of like all next season. You know,
We need it.
We need it, and then maybe we'll come back on and talk about the Champions League final. See how that goes. But one love, everybody listening and watching. Take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. We'll see y'all. One.
Yeah. Bye.